which, David, over to you.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. My sounds a bit crackly, but hopefully it's all right.
Loud and clear.
So let's let it never be said that we're not up to date in the consulting room. This is Sky News today. The annual rate of inflation has hit 6.2%, which is the highest in 30 years and higher than was expected. So we're seeing rising costs in various places. Obviously, Rishi Sunak is making a statement this afternoon, so we may get some action on that. But in terms of businesses, we need to be looking at what we can do to control costs, to manage costs, to mitigate. This sits within the finance, profit and cash flow area of the four circles of business success. So let's just look at some of the things that are going up, which will affect pretty much everybody. So price of petrol, that's looking from 2004 through to 2022, and you can just see the spike this year, effectively, how much that's gone. Historically, it's gone up and down a bit, up over time, but a massive spike this year. Average prices at the moment in the £1.60s per litre for unleaded and the £1.70s per litre for diesel. So that's quite a big increase on a year, 2 years ago. Energy bills are going up. So the price cap goes up on the 1st of April, so in just less than 2 weeks' time now. And that means that energy companies are putting their bills up. See the standing charge pretty much for everybody is going to go up by about £70. Then the amount that they can charge for electricity, and they'll want to, if they can, get as close to the cap as possible, because they're paying very high charges for buying the energy in. So electricity is going up 33%, and gas per kilowatt hour is going up 75%. So a lot of people are seeing up to 40–50% increase in the monthly cost of their electricity. Now, if you're on a business rate, that's actually not capped. This is a residential energy price cap. So if you're paying for business energy, that is going up, but there's no cap to it. If you're paying for residential energy because you're working from home, then that's going up these sorts of levels now, and it's going to go up again. The price cap will change again, no doubt, in an upwards direction in October as well. So that's a massive cost. If you employ people, then the national living wage for people aged over 23 and the national minimum wage for people under 23 going up there, as you see, by 59p for over 23s and 82p, do the calculation quickly, for people aged 21 to 22. So that adds on, and then the other costs you've got associated with that, national insurance rise, etc. So employment costs are going up, and things that are happening around the world are creating problems as well. So you haven't yet heard of the great sunflower oil shortage, but you may well do, because you may not know that the top two producers of sunflower oil in the world are Ukraine and Russia. Between them, they produce 51% of the world's sunflower oil. So at some time this year or next year, there's about a 2-year shelf life of sunflower oil. We're likely to get either a shortage or a price increase, probably a combination of the two. So if that's something that affects you, then that's going to be a potential issue that you need to look out for. And I say it's not likely to affect people on this call, but I was talking to somebody who makes traditional handmade soap earlier on. They're on our business support program at the moment, and they use sunflower oil to make soap. So you've got to then look at what are the implications of that. If it becomes scarce, can you use something other than sunflower oil? Well, yep, you can use rapeseed oil, which fortunately the main producers are Canada, China, India. So that's not going to be affected by the situation in Ukraine. But would have to change the recipes, would have to change the labeling, would have to retest processes, etc. So a bit of a pain, but you can do it. If the price went up, how much impact would that have? Well, actually, when we looked at the amount that you use in a bar of soap retailing its traditional handmade soap at £6, the cost of the sunflower oil was 3p. So even if it doubled in price to 6p, it wouldn't be a massive impact on cost. But you've got to be able to go down to that level of detail to understand how these things might affect your business, because whatever you buy in terms of supplies, there are potential issues in the next year or two. The things you can do to combat those higher costs coming in, really important to make sure you're tracking exactly what you're spending, having a clear picture of what goes out on a monthly basis, what goes out on an annual basis, so you don't suddenly get hit with something that you pay once a year. So reviewing your spending regularly, making sure you're not spending more than you need to. Reviewing how you spend in terms of cash flow. If you have a business credit card, that can give you up to 59 days free credit if you pay it off every month. So that may be a way of spending, which means you don't use cash straight away before you get it back in. Having a cash flow forecast, making sure you've got a clear view of the next month, the next 6 months, the next 12 months in terms of what the income and outgoings in your business is likely to be. And that allows you then, if you've got a cash flow forecast, to model any price increases of the things that you buy in to create what you do, and any price increases that you might pass on to the client or customer. You can model those in and say, well, if I did that, if I put my prices up by that, it would do this. If the cost of that supply went up, then this would happen. If petrol prices go to £2.50 a litre, then this would happen. So having that information allows you to plan, allows you to make sure you don't get caught by surprise. Knowing your profit for each product, service, line, whatever you want to call it, that you do is important, so that you're making sure you're keeping your profits where you need them to be, and comparing suppliers, making sure you're getting the best value. So something as simple as if you go onto the All-Star website and just create a free account, you can just look at the price of petrol in your area. So this is within 5 miles of where I live, and there's a 7p difference between the cheapest and most expensive unleaded, and a 12p difference per litre between the cheapest and most expensive diesel. And it's not always the supermarkets that are the cheapest. So being aware of where to buy best value petrol is useful and important. And having that cash flow forecast, allowing you to plug in the figures of what your sales are, what your outgoings are, see across a year. You know, if it's something you pay monthly, how much does that add up to in a year? Because sometimes we don't look at those figures, we just look at the monthly amount and think it's not much, but by the end of the year it's added up. And being able to just model in how that affects your profit, how it affects your balance in the bank, etc., going forward, is a really useful thing. This is a cash flow forecast that's available. We've got the Consulting Room Club, and if you're part of the Consulting Room Club, then one of the things you can do is download cash flow and projection templates there to plug your own numbers in and have that sort of view. But it's useful to really know the numbers within your business. So over to you. How are rising costs affecting your business and you, and what actions are you taking to mitigate, to make sure that it doesn't catch you by surprise? Have you had your new energy bill calculation from your supplier? How much is your energy bill going up on the 1st of April?